Let us pray. Almighty God, we bow down before you in humble obedience and dependence. We pray thee grant us the grace to respect each other this day in all our consultations, that our deliberations today shall take place in the spirit of mutual trust, so that we as leaders shall lead our country on the path of peace and shall find solutions for issues and problems facing us. Grant us the mercy, O Lord, that we shall today also honor thy name in all we think, do, and say. Almighty God, we pray thee, bless our land and all its people. This all we pray in the name of Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen. Amen. Affirmation. I solemnly affirm that I will be faithful to the Republic of Namibia and its people, and I solemnly promise to uphold and defend the Constitution and laws of the Republic of Namibia to the best of my ability. Announcements. In terms of Rule 137 of the Standing Rules and Orders, I wish to announce the passing on of former Member of Parliament and DTA parliamentarian, now PDM, Honorable Alois Gende, who passed on at Rundu State Hospital on Thursday, the 23rd of October 2025. Honorable Gende was a member of the Constituent Assembly from 1990 to 1998, and a member of the National Assembly from 1999 to 2000. On behalf of the National Assembly, I want to express my heartfelt condolences to the bereaved families, relatives, and friends of Honorable Gende. May I ask you all to rise and join me to observe a minute of silence in his honor. May his soul rest in peace. Another announcement, honorable members, in terms of Section 7 of the Powers, Privileges and Immunities of Parliament Act of 1996, Act number 17 of 1996, and in accordance with the committee rules of the National Assembly, Rule 32, I wish to inform the House that the Committee on Privileges shall comprise of the Speaker as chairperson as per the Act and 5 members of the Assembly. The following members have been duly nominated to serve on the Committee on Privileges: Honorable Dr. Job Ampanda, Honorable Pohamba Shifeta, Honorable Marlene Mbakera, Honorable Vena Ita, and Honorable Elvis Lizazi. I congratulate the appointed members and wish them well in the discharge of their duties in this important committee. Finally, honorable members, I wish to inform the House that a delegation of lawyers from the Department of Legislative Drafting and Procedural Services of the Parliament of Uganda, who are currently on a benchmarking visit to Namibia, is seated in the public gallery. The department is responsible for the drafting and amendment of bills and other legislative instruments. The purpose of their visit is to enable interdependent skills development between the parliaments of Uganda and Namibia, aimed at sharing experiences and strengthening the capacity of both institutions in the execution of their legislative functions. The said officers are Ms. Nangudi Deborah, Head of Delegation, Ms. Namusue Veronica, Ms. Akulu Esther, Ms. Nakasi Salam, Ms. Namara Alion, and Ms. Asimwe Flavia. On behalf of the House, I extend a warm welcome to our distinguished guests from the Parliament of Uganda and wish them a fruitful and memorable stay in Namibia, the land of the brave. Welcome. Now, any message from the head of state? Any petitions? Any reports of standing or select committees? Other reports and papers? Honorable Minister of Finance.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, very good afternoon. I lay upon the table, in terms of Rule 222 of the Standing Rules and Orders, report of the Auditor General on the accounts of the Village Council of Okongo for the financial year ended 30 June 2024. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Minister may please table the report. Notices of questions? Notices of motions? Oh, okay. I don't know what is happening to my screen. There is a layout on my screen of the 6th. Now who's, okay, that's Honorable Lizazi, is it? Likando. Honorable Likando, you have the floor, please.
All right. Thank you. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I hereby give notice that on Thursday, 6 November 2025, I shall ask the Honorable Minister of Justice and Labor Relations the questions formulated hereinafter as arising from a consideration of the following known facts. Namibia is a sovereign, secular, democratic, unitary state where power resides in the people who elect their representatives to a government constituted by the executive, legislature, and the judiciary. Subject to the provisions of the Constitution and the relevant laws, the President appoints ministers, and these ministers are accountable to both Parliament and the President. On the 25th of October 2025, the President of the Republic of Namibia relieved Honorable Natangwe Thete of his duties as Deputy Prime Minister and also as Minister of Industry, Mines and Energy. The latter portfolio seemingly now resides with the President. Honorable Speaker, given the provisions of Article 41 of the Constitution, can the President lawfully be answerable to both A, herself, and B, Parliament? 2, does the fact that the President now assuming the duties of the Minister of Industry, Mines and Energy not unconstitutionally undermine the separation of power principle? 3, in terms of Act 4 of 1990, Assigning of Powers Act, at Section 4 thereof, when a minister vacated his or her office, the President appoints another minister to carry out the duties and activities of that ministry. Is the President in violation of that provision and her presidential oath of office by assuming the duties, responsibilities, and functions of the Minister of Industry, Mines and Energy? The Constitution that prior to performing any duties, responsibility, or functions of a ministry, the appointed person must be gazetted and subscribe to a ministerial oath of office. When is Her Excellency going to take the oath at Schedule 2 and be gazetted in order to lawfully fulfill any ministerial tasks, including accounting to this House about the Minister of Industry, Mines and Energy? Lastly, Honorable Speaker, when will the actions of the President be gazetted as stipulated in Article 32(8) of the Constitution? Honorable Speaker, I so submit.
The Honorable Member may please table the questions. Honorable Hengombe.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
Honorable Speaker, Thank you so much for the wonderful opportunity. I hereby give notice that on Thursday, 30 October 2025, I shall ask the Right Honorable Prime Minister Dr. Elijah Ngurare regarding the recent decision made by Her Excellency, the President of the Republic of Namibia, to dismiss the Minister of Industrialization, Mines and Energy, and to assume that portfolio personally. It's different.
Different question.
Listen.
Wait, just continue.
Question 1. Can the Right Honorable Prime Minister inform this House under which constitutional provision or statutory authority the President may dismiss a sitting minister and immediately assume the ministerial portfolio without appointing an acting or substantive replacement? Question 2. What consultations, if any, were undertaken with Cabinet before the decision to remove the Minister of Industrialization?
Honorable member, I think you are repeating the question that was asked by the previous member.
It's two different questions.
By what the honorable member is saying, he is repeating what was said by the member who just presented his question here.
Honorable Speaker, what I'm asking pertaining to the portfolio.
Yes.
That's what I'm asking. The portfolio of the of Ministry of Mines and Energy.
But that's the same question.
I am the shadow minister, and I'm asking pertaining.
No, that same question was asked by the previous member who asked the question. It's the ruling of the presiding officer. That
all right. Can I continue to the next question?
Yes.
Thank you.
Please.
Question 3. Given the critical importance of the mining and energy sector to Namibia's economy, what measures are being taken to ensure that there is no disruption to governance, investment, or policy continuity in that ministry while it is under the direct control of the President? Number 4, does the assumption of the ministerial role by the President comply with the principle of separation of power?
That question was also asked, honorable member. Now we will have to amend your questions in order to take out the questions that are not in compliance with the rules. And then you may table the question, if you would like to do that today still.
I have the last question that I want to ask.
And the honorable member, I indicated to the MPs last time that a person, an MP, is given an opportunity to ask a question once. So the honorable members cannot be asking 2, 3, 4 questions. It is clearly indicated in the rules that you get an opportunity once to ask one question.
Oh.
Yes.
What is that now?
Speaker,
Why are you introducing that now?
We will not have a
Speaker,
there is a certain honorable MP who like to interrupt the presiding officer when she is making a ruling.
No,
and in terms of the rule, the presiding officer can name that member.
Wonderful.
So that member should please take note that next time the presiding officer will call out the name, and please don't say you are being victimized. Yeah.
Can I continue?
So when the presiding officer is making a ruling, the member would take their seat, and the presiding officer would be heard in silence.
But, Honorable Speaker,
Yes, please.
I just want to complete.
Yeah, no, please, you have asked one set of questions. Table your questions. If you are going to take out the other questions and table the questions.
Okay, I'll table it.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Yes.
you are going to listen.
Yes, Honorable Nashinge, please address yourself to the presiding officer.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Welcome back. Speaking is the leader of the official opposition in Parliament and Shadow Minister for Home Affairs. So please do listen to me very, very carefully, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, good afternoon. As the leader of the official opposition in the Parliament of the Republic of Namibia, I wish to give notice that on Thursday, the 30th of October 2025, I shall ask the Right Honorable Prime Minister, Dr. Elijah Chitunga Ngurare, happy birthday to him, by the way, the following questions regarding ministerial accountability and separation of powers under our Constitution. Article 1, Sub-Article 3 of the Namibian Constitution establishes the separation of powers between the executive, legislature, and judiciary. However, certain executive arrangements appear to contradict this principle and undermine ministerial accountability in the Parliament of the Republic of Namibia. Therefore, I ask the following. Right Honorable Prime Minister, do you agree that failing to ensure continuous ministerial representation in the Parliament, especially for key portfolios such as industry, mines, and energy, may conflict with Article 30, which obliges the executive to faithfully execute and administer the laws of the Republic of Namibia? 2, considering Article 1, Sub-Article 3, does the Prime Minister consider that the current executive structure fully respects the constitutional principle of separation of powers between the legislature and the executive? 3, under Article 27, Sub-Article 3, and 28, Sub-Article 2A and D, and 35, Sub-Article 1, how does the executive guarantee accountability and responsiveness to the Parliament when ministries remain without appointed ministers? 4, pursuant to Article 40E, what measures are in place to ensure that the President, Vice President, and the Minister attend National Assembly sittings to respond to questions and participate in debates on government policies? Finally, under Article 41, can the Prime Minister clarify how individual and collective ministerial accountability is maintained where certain portfolios are vacant or their functions are delegated? I so submit. Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Honorable. You may now table the question. I think you navigated the area very narrowly. Almost duplicated, but right. Okay, Honorable Ihemba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me join my principals and seniors to welcome you back as well. On that note, Honorable Speaker, I wish to give notice that on Thursday, the 30th of October 2025, I shall ask the Minister of Home Affairs, Immigration, Safety and Security, Honorable Lucia Ipumbu, the following question regarding the registration of marriages in Namibia. Yes, please. Honorable Minister, the recent directive requiring all married couples to verify their records is unprecedented and points to a potential systemic failure in the registration of marriages in Namibia. While the Ministry has expressed concern, it remains unclear which marriages are affected. What triggered this exercise and the scale of non-compliance by magistrates' officers? In light of this, I shall ask the Minister, number 1, could the Ministry clarify the specific period under review? Are we referring to marriages from last year, the last 5 years, or is this an issue spanning decades? Number 2, what audit, discovery, or investigation prompted this public directive? And what data exists to show the number of unregistered or improperly registered marriages? How many marriage officers are currently non-compliant with the Section 40.2 requirement to submit marriages registers within 3 days? And what category do they belong to? Are they magistrates, religious leaders, or others? Further, considering that thousands of Namibians may now have to travel to towns to verify their records, will the Ministry cover these costs? Or are citizens expected to bear the burden of what appears to be a systemic failure. I so submit, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Somaev.
It's an oral question.
Oh, agent oral question. I recognize Honorable Kangulu.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I hereby give notice that on Thursday, the 30th of October 2025, I shall ask the Minister of Defense and Veteran Affairs, Honorable Kakofi, the following question. Honorable Minister, I wrote to seek clarification regarding the recruitment and promotion practice currently employed within the Namibian Defense Force, as outlined in the 2025 or recently recruitment notice. It has come to my attention that the Ministry continues to give priority recruitment to the young individual directly from civilian life into the training and rapidly advance them into cadet or officers. Meanwhile, the long-serving member with extensive experience, exemplary service records, and the relevant qualification appear to remain in their current position, mostly non-commissioned office, limiting them to such opportunity of promotion to become officers. This approach or morale decay has raised significant concern among the service members, those serving members, particularly with discipline of those forces, motivation, and the preserved fairness in those career progression. In light of the above, I respectfully request clarification out of the following question. Why does the Ministry continue to recruit and promote new officers direct into cadets instead of itemizing the promotion of experienced long-serving members within the files in the rank of NDF? What mechanisms are in place to ensure promotion within the Namibian? I don't have even a phone.
Someone's phone is too close to the mic.
What?
That's
I
what
don't
I'm
have
told.
even a phone. Can we continue?
Yes, you may
What
proceed.
mechanisms are in place to ensure that promotion within NDF are genuinely based on merit, experience, competence, as per the service record, rather than the preference to external recruitment of general office cadet? Knowing well that a soldier is a calling, being a soldier is a calling, it's not just a job. How can the Ministry conduct an internal assessment to evaluate the morale decay and operational impact as a result of overlooking experienced members in favor of those external civilians to become an officer? What long-term strategy does the Ministry intend to implement to restore the Namibian Defense Force career advancement structures that particularly employ the dedicated forces who are already serving? Given the initial framework to promotion of office cadet, whereby all prospect candidates are first inducted in general recruitment, and only after induction program has been accomplished, those suitable and qualified individuals are selected for further extended office cadet. What happened to this approach? Why this approach is no longer expanded? Given it is critical significance of highlighting NDF commitment to develop its personnel and continue building a modern and a well-equipped force, why don't we adopt to that suitable and sustainable approach? I so submit, Honorable Speaker.
Please table the questions. Okay. Are you tabling your other questions? Okay, so please table the question.
Thank you.
Okay, Honorable Kanyemba? Or Agent Oral? Okay, so then I give the floor to Honorable Somayo.
Thank you, Speaker, and welcome back. Speaker, my 18th oral question was to the Minister of Environment and Tourism. But because of urgency, I will put it in the hands of the Prime Minister, who is the overall supervisor. Because it's very urgent and it's a life-threatening situation in the constituency that I'm coming from, which is coming up.
Let me get the gist of it, please.
Yeah, it's only ICU. Yeah, few weeks back, we killed the elephant in some area of the country, which was regarded as life-threatening. And it was, honestly, from my side, a good move, either to save the human beings or people that are residing in that area. But now, even a straight text this morning I got from the residents of Kamiap area, especially Rester, Elandspet area, Elandslagte area. Since February, these people are terrorized by the bunch of elephants. And they have alerted the Minister of Environment, but these people are not responding. So they posed this question and they sent me the message to convey the message to the relevant ministry. Are they forgotten? The second elephant was killed within 2 days, but they have been terrorized by the bunch of elephants. And does government consider their life threats? So I want not to respond that I'm aware, but I want us to take urgent action in this, because these guys of nature conservation are only coming with a sedan vehicle to assess the situation without reacting. So, Honorable Prime Minister, please take this as a matter of urgency.
Yes,
So
Honorable Somaib, it would be better to, you see, because you may take your seat, please. I note that the matter is of an urgent nature, but we are obliged to comply with the rules. The rules are saying, under urgent oral question, a member may ask a question, and that's where I underline. It must be a question. It's not to highlight an issue of an urgent nature. So you could just summarize and say, there is this problem. When is the government maybe going to take, or something like that, but you cannot just make it a matter of bringing something to the attention of the Prime Minister under question, because that's not a question. Are we together? Under urgent oral questions, it's strictly questions that must be posed. It's not statements to bring attention to issues that are of an urgent nature.
But at this stage, the reason why I did that is for us to understand the urgency and the reality on the ground. But I do honor your guidance.
Yes, okay. So maybe I'll exercise flexibility there, but please, I don't want the members to see it as a precedence. Urgent oral question, it's about asking questions that are urgent, and it must be brief and to the point. So I will get past that, because it's not a question now. I don't know whether to call upon the Prime Minister to answer. Are you, Honorable Prime Minister, would you like to say something?
Thank you very much, Comrade Speaker. Thank you to the Honorable Member that asked the question pertaining to human-wildlife conflict in Kamanyam constituency. The question is whether we regard it as a matter that would demand urgent intervention. The answer is yes, because life is involved. And he's also hinting that the officials that are responding appear to be not adequately resourced to deal with the matter of the threat of the elephant. So, Comrade Speaker, yes, we will look into it right away after Parliament will talk to the line minister as well as the officials that are involved, and to make sure that life is protected and no life is lost. I have forced this matter to stand up, Honorable Speaker. I know if you will indulge me, if only with 1 second, to legally abuse the rule a bit. And that is pertaining.
PM is not allowed to abuse the rule.
And that is pertaining to Article 27, subsection 2 of the Constitution, which states that the executive power of the Republic of Namibia shall vest in the President and Cabinet. So we can have a discussion after that, but I'm saying I'm legally trying to abuse the rule, but please, I seek your condonation for that. After all, I'm a baby today, so I hope I can be forgiven.
Thank you, Comrade Prime Minister. Honorable Prime Minister, I see that you have restrained yourself there, so we will move ahead. And I'll give the floor to Honorable Kanyemba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My question is directed to the Minister of Defense. Can the Honorable Minister explain to the public why this age limitation to the recruitment of soldiers within the NDF? I so submit. Why there is an age limitation?
Yes. Okay, Honorable Member. Honorable Member, that's not an agent oral question, because this is a policy. This is a policy of the government that has been there for all those years. The Honorable Member can just pose a question in writing and get an answer. Truly, that is how we delay getting to the order of the day. That's not an agent oral question. Yeah. So, Honorable Ricando, did I not give you the floor already?
No, I'm standing on the point of privilege.
Yes, please.
I just want to find out if I can also pose the agent oral question,
No,
which
you
was
already
supposed. Let me finish. Which was supposed to be posed to the Minister of Environment, Forest and Tourism. Can I also pose it to the Right Honorable Prime Minister, since it was allowed before?
Which question is that?
The question, oral agent question, that should be posed to the Honorable Minister of Environment. Now,
Which oral agent question is supposed to be posed to the Minister?
I have them here, my agent oral
okay.
question.
If it's written, it's not oral agent, and it should just have been notified.
It's not written.
Yeah.
It's not a written question.
You showed me, you say I have them here.
No, I have.
Okay.
Speaker, the question is, can I ask the Right Honorable Prime Minister or not?
Yes. Okay. What I'm saying, Honorable Ricando, is can I have a confirmation as to whether I did give the floor to Honorable Ricando to ask a question? So, because what I indicated today is that a member can ask a question for a time not exceeding 3 minutes, and the member only has one opportunity to do that, once. So you had an opportunity to ask a question. You cannot come back and ask another question because it's agent oral. Yeah. So that's a ruling, Honorable Member. Yes, please. Now, are we debating? Okay.
Find out whether the agent oral question can be posed to the Right Honorable Minister in the absentia of the Minister.
Well, there is no prohibition, the Prime Minister being the leader of government administration, but the presiding officer. That's why I sometimes ask, can I get the gist of the question? So I get the gist of the question. I can say it does not qualify to be agent oral, or yes, it can be agent oral, and the Prime Minister can indicate whether that answer can be provided orally or it needs to be put down in writing. But now the challenge that we are faced with is you are not in a position to put that question. Yes, but you can ask the Honorable Prime Minister, Right Honorable Prime Minister, over tea, a cup of tea. Yes, now having said that, we will now proceed with notices of motions. I think this is the most favorite topic of the MP's agent oral question. Notice of motions. Okay, Honorable Shafuda, Minister of Finance.
Honorable Speaker, I give notice that on the 5th of October 2025, I shall move that leave be given to introduce a bill to amend the Income Tax Act of 1981 so as to constitute the tax court for hearing income tax and value-added tax appeals and any other dispute referred to the tax court, provide for administrative and procedural rules that govern the conduct of tax court hearings, and to provide for incidental matters. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. On what date are you going to move?
5th
of what?
October.
That's passed already.
November. 5th of November.
Okay, so that is agreed to. Honorable Minister, may you please amend the notice and then table the notice. Yes, Honorable Minister may now table the notice. Any ministerial statements? Honorable Nekundi? Or is it the Honorable Minister of Finance? Okay, you have the floor.
Honorable Speaker, I give notice that on the 4th of November 2025, I shall move that leave be given to introduce a bill to provide for the continued existence of the Public Accounts and Auditors Board as the Accountants and Auditors Regulatory Authority, provide for the governance of the authority, provide for the constitution, objectives, functions, and powers of the board and its committees, to provide for accreditation of professional bodies, provide for the registration of auditors, accountants, and accounting technicians, provide for an inspectorate of the authority, repeal the Public Accounts and Auditors Act of 1951, and provide for incidental matters. I so move, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Minister, may you please table the notice?
Thank you.
Any ministerial statement? Reports from the Committee of the Whole Assembly and consequential proceedings? Then orders of the day. The Secretary will read the first order of the day.
Resumption of debate on second reading, Appropriation Amendment Bill.
When this Assembly adjourned on Wednesday, the 22nd of October 2025, the question before the Assembly was a motion by the Honorable Minister of Finance. Any further discussions? Honorable Kachingi Siwa.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I rise to contribute on this appropriation bill, amendment bill. Let me thank you for your hard work, ethics, and well-presented budget. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, fiscal policy priorities are noted and supported. Good progress is with green schemes. I will not elaborate as it is already featuring on the midterm expenditure framework. This is in line with the NDP 6 as well as in the SWAPO Party manifesto. Well done with the priorities project, which revived the country's economy and assist government with jobs creation. I appreciate the budgetary consideration to the Ministry of Education for 665 teachers to be recruited. This shall address the overcrowded classes and reduces the workload of teachers. The teacher-learner ratio shall be adhered to. Honorable Deputy Speaker, honorable members, on the health sector, as I was visiting the regions, I realized that the shortage of human resource, with these blessings of recruiting more nurses, it will enhance the capacity in the health sector. The slowdown of approving this midterm budget is cause of concern. Let us support the budget for the capital projects to be functional. Let's finish it even today so that we can move on. My people and my colleagues of the gender committee are in Zambia, and they are still waiting for us to approve here. So please, let's move on. Honorable Deputy Speaker, honorable members, I wholeheartedly support the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Matundu.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I rest to wholeheartedly support the mid-year budget review for the fiscal year 2025-2026, along with the fiscal policy statement for the 2026-2027 to 2028 to 2029 midterm expenditure framework under the theme Beyond 35 for a Prosperous Future. I thank our able Minister of Finance, Honorable Erica Shafuta, the Director General of National Planning Commission, Ambassador Kaire Mwende, and your entire team for reviewing and updating the budget to help the country to stay on the right track, to identify areas of concerns and make informed decisions about resources allocation. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the speaker before me has analyzed the budget presentation in detail, and I will not repeat what has been already said by my fellow honorable members, especially those who have supported the appropriation bill as stapled by our able Minister of Finance. Honorable Minister of Finance, I have been very worried about how the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sports and Arts and Culture is going to implement the free education for tertiary education as announced by Her Excellency Dr. Netumbo Nandi Daitwa during her maiden speech in this very house. What was worrying me was the budget allocation to the education sector to cater for the President's call, because there was no earlier budget allocated or set aside to respond to the call of the President. Today, I am a very happy person that the budget presented to us by the Minister of Finance has cleared my worries by allocating funds to the Ministry of Education to respond to the call of Her Excellency Dr. Netumbo Nandi Daitwa, President of the Republic of Namibia, as far as free tertiary education is concerned. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, permit me to touch on maintenance of the ablution facilities in various schools and hostels. Through social media, we have witnessed the dilapidated ablution facilities in various schools and hostels across the country. The impression created by the school premises is very important because it helps to create a homely environment. With maintenance being done on the ablution facilities promptly, will make it last longer and be kept in good shape, looking neat and hygiene. The children need to stay in a clean environment for them to feel more at home. If the learning environment is a good one, the kids will learn better, the teachers will teach better, and the children will take the same caring attitude with them back home. With that said, Honorable Speaker, I am humbly requesting the Minister of Finance to allocate more funds to address the issue of maintenance of the ablution facilities in schools or the Ministry of Education need to prioritize and allocate more funds to the maintenance vault. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, a practical example, the Office of the Right Honorable Prime Minister has drilled a solar borehole for Ocherunda Combined School in Kunene region to supply water to the school premises. Unfortunately, the agreement was that after the drilling of the borehole, the Ministry of Education will take over and connect the water further to the ablution facilities and to the teachers' accommodation, because the OPM has just brought the water pipes at a certain center location at the school premises. That was done in 2022, and up to now, no budget has been allocated to complete the project. As we speak, the situation of water not reaching to the ablution or sanitation facilities has led to the issue of children having to relieve themselves in the open or outdoors, risking them to dangerous reptiles during the night. This issue does not affect Ocherunda Combined School alone, but it affects many schools across the country. Secondly, a need of connecting the borehole to work with electricity was identified because the solar system is unable to cater for the school needs due to its population. I am humbly requesting the Ministry of Education to urgently look into this matter as a matter of urgency. The Office of the Right Honorable Prime Minister has just rescued the school, which was in dire need of water because the community borehole didn't have the capacity to accommodate the school due to its current population. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the issue of dilapidated facilities has an impact on the learners, such as the safety concerns. In conclusion, honorable Speaker, honorable members, I once more support the appropriation bill and thank you for your kind attention, honorable members. Thank you.
Thank you. Honorable Ambula.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Right Honorable Prime Minister, happy birthday. I rise to make my contribution to the appropriation bill amendment. As expected, this MTF appropriation bill is an update to Namibia's 2025-2026 Appropriation Act, adjusting budget amounts for various government departments up to March 2026. It was an exercise to transfer posts, goalposts, and move them from one pocket to another. Some votes received increases, such as those for the Office of the President, Office of the Prime Minister, and the Ministry of Education, in order to appease and fulfill political statements made at the beginning of this 8th Parliament. Of course, to fulfill these political statements, other votes had their budgets reduced, such as those of Mines, Energy and Industry, and the Anti-Corruption Commission, which is a curious move indeed. In the spirit of craftsmanship and accounting, the total budget stays nearly the same, balancing increases and decreases. This comes as no surprise, because creativity has always been the order of the day to avoid thorough accountability. This bill, introduced by the Honorable Minister of Finance, seeks to amend the Appropriation Act of 2025, which we passed earlier this year, to adjust specific monetary allocations within the Act schedule. This is intended to fulfill political commitments and advance campaign tactics ahead of the November election. Notably, adjustments have been made to numerous votes. including increases for the Office of the President, the Prime Minister, and the National Assembly. Health and Social Services, the Electoral Commission of Namibia, and the Ministry of Education have also been adjusted. There have been decreases in international relations and cooperation, defense, finance, labor relations, mines and energy, as I alluded to before, as well as the judiciary and other areas. As alluded, Honorable Speaker, honorable members, most, if not all, these adjustments done here are to save the face and to fulfill the political promises of Her Excellency in her maiden speech. And these are as follows. As it relates to education, the significant increase is to make up for promised subsidized tertiary education, a development that we fully welcome, but one that needs serious reflection, especially to accommodate the non-tuition fees for the needy students to cover books and their living expenses. Health and social services, the slight increase may be aimed at enhancing access to quality public health, especially in response to health challenges or new social programs, which I hope personally include mental health care, particularly for the young men in this country who have long been overlooked. As it relates to the Electoral Commission, additional funds are allocated for the conduct of the regional and local authority elections. As you may recall, about 3 months ago, I called for a motion to harmonize the elections into a single event. Honorable members, this is the time to appreciate the importance of that motion, and you must support it when it comes to your table. As for the presidency, the increase in budget might be for operational costs or to support presidential initiatives, which I personally believe is turning out to be slightly biting off a big chunk for Madam President, and which I think are proving to be rather too large to chew. Madam President, let us help you with chewing these chunks. Overall, the increased allocations to education and health seem to suggest focus on a much-needed developmental and social welfare program. These sectors require deliberate and targeted injections in the financial year 2026-2027 appropriation bill, rather than these simple left pocket to right pocket interventions. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, fellow Namibians, the budget cuts in certain departments can have substantial implications. These include reduced service deliveries in areas such as justice and transport, which may cause further challenges in maintaining service quality, leading to delays or decreased efficiency in their operations. It is important to notice that there is already a mammoth backlog in the justice system, especially when it comes to hiring magistrates to expedite cases, and so a decrease here will indeed be an injustice, pun intended. Ministries such as urban and rural development and agriculture risk seeing slowed progress on important infrastructure or land reform initiatives, impact community development and economic growth. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the cuts in sectors such as gender equality and social welfare are very concerning, as the labor relations will impact the vulnerable populations that benefit from social support or employment programs, which will increase inequality and cause serious social tensions. This is already evident in the government job freeze, which further exacerbates unemployment, especially among young people. This reduced budget will limit government's capacity to carry out their functions effectively, including recruitment, procurement, training, program implementation across the board. Dear Namibians, honorable members of this august House, the expected long-term economic effects include budget constraints that could hinder capacity building and service provision, potentially impacting future economic stability and developmental goals. This is a serious cause for concern. The real or perceived austerity or service reductions may affect public confidence in government effectiveness, as well as affect public trust in governance. Esteemed Speaker, Honorable Shafuda, honorable members, while budget cuts may be necessary due to fiscal constraints, they can impair the government's ability to deliver essential services and implement development projects effectively, thereby influencing social equity and growth negatively. The overall appropriation bill, as presented, presents a legislative effort to realign government spending to meet Namibia's financial needs for the remainder of the 2025-2026 fiscal year. The total budget remains virtually unchanged, with a slight decrease from the initial amount. This indicates a largely static fiscal stance, which may limit flexibility in addressing evolving priorities or unforeseen expenditures. While the bill provides detailed figures, it lacks explanations for the rationale behind specific adjustments. Without context, why allocations are increased or decreased, it is challenging to assess the appropriateness or effectiveness of these reallocations. The bill reflects a disciplined approach with limited overall changes, but it also raises concern about whether the government maintains sufficient flexibility to respond to unforeseen needs or economic shocks. Mpox could potentially throw us into another COVID-19 scenario. Are we really fiscally ready to face another pandemic? Honorable Minister of Finance, our contributions to this amendment process should demonstrate responsiveness from your side, while also emphasizing the importance of transparent decision-making to maintain public trust, especially when budget cuts could impact service delivery. In conclusion, the appropriation bill aims to fine-tune government expenditures within a constrained fiscal environment. While it shows practical reallocation, it warrants scrutiny to ensure that essential services are not compromised and that resources shifts align with national priorities, maintaining transparency and strategic focus. In supporting this bill as is, I take a cautious approach in wondering if the reallocation aligns with national priorities and fiscal discipline objectives. However, to enhance its effectiveness and transparency, I would recommend the following changes. Honorable Speaker, if you can just give me 1 minute, just 1 minute to close off. There is a need.
Honorable, your time is up.
Just 1 minute, Honorable Speaker. In conclusion and in summary, in supporting and accepting the bill with this recommended modification, we will strengthen the fiscal accountability, transparency, and responsiveness of this bill. If these changes are not feasible in the current legislative cycle, then additional oversight and monitoring should be emphasized to ensure that the reallocated funds are used effectively and efficiently. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
The House will now rise for a 15-minute break.
Yes, good. Honorable Speaker, welcome back. You seem to become an international speaker than a Namibian speaker. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the Minister of the Checker has just left. I don't know why. Maybe it's a boycott. He doesn't want to hear my voice. George is coming. The mid-year budget statement delivered before this august House should not be merely a presentation of numbers. It must be a reflection of where our nation stands and where it intends to go to struggle, to rebuild, to recover, and more importantly, to reimagine an economy that truly works for our people. And I want to emphasize that we need to reimagine a better Namibia. It doesn't help for years to speak at cross purposes, to disagree on the future of this country, but not really articulating what are those things that we need to nip in the bud for us to have an economy that grows, that creates prosperity, that gives jobs to our people, that creates value chains, that takes our country from one level to the next level. And I want to commend the Minister and her team for the dedication, and especially on the matters of clarity, which they have outlined the fiscal position of our Republic. As we acknowledge this effort, we must also interrogate whether this budget sufficiently addresses the realities facing ordinary Namibians, the unemployed, youth, the small-scale farmer, the teacher, the nurse, the domestic worker, the security guards, and all those who continue to bear the weight of our economic hardships. It is in that spirit of fairness and national responsibility that I offer a balanced reflection on this mid-year budget. The Minister informed us, and it's very worrying, the Minister informed us that Namibia's growth forecast for this year, 2025, has been revised downwards. We were very optimistic at the beginning of the year, and I'm sure when the President was making presidential statements here during the State of the Nation address, she was upbeat that the forecast was standing at 4.5% initially, and now we are down by 3.3%. And factually and economically, for us to be able to share prosperity with the rest of the country, we need to grow our economy at more than 7.7%, at least minimum. So the threshold of 3.3% creates a problem for our economy. We are not taking the country where it needs to go because our growth is very sluggish and it's very low. There are concomitant reasons, economic reasons, global headwinds, and everything that makes countries not to move faster. But as a country, as leaders in this House, we must start thinking deeply, how do we reform our economy so that we get a better output in the better interest of our people and country? Our country has immense potential, yet we continue to face persistent challenges in key sectors such as mining, fisheries, agriculture, and manufacturing. In the mining sector, Namibia stands as a potential energy powerhouse with the promise of transformative economic gains. However, this wealth also carries hidden costs, environmental degradation, social displacements, and economic dependency on volatile commodity prices. One of the things in the mining industry is that if you look at the revenue that our country is yielding from the mining sector, it tells you that the investment is too big, but we are not getting enough resources from our revenue collections in the fishing and the mining sector. And we need to do something about it. One of the things that we need to do that other countries are expediently doing, that we are lagging behind as a democracy of more than 35 years, is the fact that other countries such as Benin, Kenya has announced, many other countries are announcing value addition as a matter of presence and reality. In our country, it is in this parliament that I brought a motion to bring a private member's bill to address the question of value addition. For 7 months, we are trying to block a motion that should take our country into greater heights. And we are not disagreeing, we are only disagreeing because we are political enemies. And that kind of politics will not take this country anywhere. And I want members of parliament to start listening to debates, especially in the Indochina countries. Go and listen to parliamentary debates in Singapore. Go and listen to parliamentary debates in Malaysia.
how opposition and ruling party MPs in those countries are talking about how they can propel those countries to greater heights. Here we are too political, too SWAPO, too PDM, too what, but the country is not moving ahead. Sometimes we, the shoulders, the responsibility of governance, of leadership, is bestowed upon us as leaders of this country. And we need to start reflecting on those things that we need to do to take our country to greater heights. Honorable colleagues, the question of value addition is very important. And how do we posit Namibia as one of the largest uranium producer? How do we make sure that our uranium works for us? How fast are we going to do to move towards nuclear power generation in our country, even smaller power generation, to be able to help our countries? And these are the directions that we must take as a country. Economic growth must therefore translate into job creation, income generation, and real opportunities to our people. To achieve this, we must do more to diversify our economy, and I want to emphasize that. Strengthen local industries and support small businesses. If you look at Kenya, Kenya yesterday has announced that they are going to ban imports of furniture. We have our people in Kavango and in Zambezi. Have we really invested enough in the furniture market for our schools? We must come at a time to say all our schools will get all their chairs and tables from Kavango. That way we create and we put money in that market for us to be able to start moving ahead. We have a small factory in the south of our country that is producing what it calls veldskoene. Why don't we just announce that all schools from next year must get all their shoes from Namibian industries? That way we create a niche market in the leather industry and we create a shoe factory and our people can be able to move ahead. But we are depending on the ShopRites and the PEP stores that are importing school uniforms that are coming from outside. Why don't we create a very strong market for school uniforms? Our seamstresses in this country, and say every school uniform must be produced in Namibia. By doing that, we create an industry and our people can be able to benefit from it. These are the things that we must start reimagining to re-change and redirect our country to greater heights. Honorable colleagues, the Minister emphasized fiscal discipline, and rightly so, and I agree with you, maintaining a total budget of 89.4 billion while reflecting funds from lower priority projects demonstrate prudence. But fiscal discipline is not simply about numbers. It is about accountability, efficiency, and results. Every dollar spent must make a difference in the lives of Namibians. We have seen in the past how inefficiencies and delays can erode the impact of even the most well-intentioned budgets. Our people are our greatest enemy. Sometimes people get tenders, get projects. The money is there to do something. But because you want insider trading, you want corruption, there is unnecessary delays, especially at school infrastructure or clinic to be built. It takes so long because one person is just being selfish and he wants to eat the money. So we need to really, where we send money, we must expediently spend that money and prudently so that it helps the community. I want to address one question that should never divide this country. And it's the agricultural industry. And Madam Minister of Agriculture, you would not hear enough of this from me the few years that I'm around with you. In this regard, our agricultural sector needs a new thinking. I agree with the President and the Minister that you are doing extremely well at the green schemes. But the green schemes are not the ones to create. That's not 20 minutes.
10 minutes.
I have 10 more minutes.
Honorable member, you are wasting your time.
I have 10 more minutes.
No.
PDM is 20 minutes.
The time limit for debate is say all members 10 minutes once. The PDM as an organization, yes, it is given 20 minutes. But an individual member has 10 minutes. So you are wasting your time. Except that flexibility of 1 minute in the discretion of the presiding officer.
Okay, you have a point. I agree with you. 2 minutes, 2 minutes.
One.
Okay, 2 minutes, please, Honorable Speaker. On the agricultural front, we need to develop and rethink desert farming. Go to Saudi Arabia today. Saudi Arabia has produced the biggest desalination plant in the world, a country in the desert. We have large tracts of land. If we go to Saudi Arabia and say, partner with us, create desalination plant, we can create value chains and reform the agricultural sector. And these are the things that we need to do to take our country forward. I would have taken time to take you on how we can change the country. Thank you very much, colleagues. Oh, so the 20 minutes is for one person.
Honorable Speaker, honorable members of Parliament, I rise to contribute on the debate on the Appropriation Amendment Bill tabled before this August House by the Honorable Minister of Finance. Let me join others in commending the Honorable Minister and her team for their effort in presenting a very realistic and targeted appropriation amendment budget. The reallocation of funds to key sectors such as education, health, agriculture, and infrastructure demonstrates government's continued commitment to uplifting the socio-economic conditions of our people. However, Honorable Speaker, while we appreciate the intent of this additional budget, we must exercise fiscal discipline and transparency in its execution. The reallocation of funds must not become a routine exercise to cover inefficiencies or poor planning by line ministries. We have taken note that the execution rate for development budget, which is a concern, stands at 28.80%, which is very low at this time of the financial year. If you take a few examples from the sectors that received the higher allocations in the budget, you find transport so far has executed only 37% to date. Urban and rural, up to 33%. Education, up to 18%. And water and marine resources, 7%. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, as we move forward, I propose the following. Number one, the Ministry of Finance should strengthen monitoring mechanisms to ensure that funds allocated in this additional budget are used efficiently. Number two, line ministries be required to report to Parliament on the progress of projects funded through the 2025-2026 and beyond, and the allocations that are being discussed here. And number three, greater emphasis to be placed on capital projects and economic diversification to reduce reliance on recurrent expenditure and debt financing. Number four, the recruitment of teachers that is envisaged, including health workers, must not necessarily be relegated to next year because we might run short of time. But immediately after this budget has been passed, this recruitment, I suggest, must begin. Honorable Speaker, this amendment bill represents both opportunity and a responsibility. It provides much needed relief to critical sectors, but it also demands accountability, discipline, and impact. I therefore support the budget fully, but I also urge that its implementation be guided by prudence, transparency, and measurable results that truly benefit the Namibian people. I thank you.
Thank you. I recognize Honorable Chris.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable members, I rise today not to dismiss the Minister's mid-year budget review, but to hold this government accountable to the people whose hopes and livelihoods depend on more than just statistics and promises. It is impossible to talk of progress where the poor people remain poor, and it is impossible to talk of stability when the masses are left out from development. Honorable members, as Minister rejoices in macroeconomic stability, our people are living in another economy which is an increasing debt, falling growth, and increasing inequality. The true state of the economy cannot be understood just by looking or statistics, but it is reflected in the real-life conditions of our ordinary people. Honorable Speaker, allow me to focus on economic growth. The Minister acknowledges that growth has been revised downwards from 4.5% in the 2025-2026 main budget to 3.3% currently. This is not a small technical tweak, but it is an indicator that the economic policy of government is on the run. It is important to understand that Namibia can never create prosperity through falling productivity, reduction in manufacturing, and the relentless dependency on SACU checks. Industrialization and diversification was promised to us, but we are still in an economy of exporting raw materials and importing jobs. Where does the change come after decades of Vision 2030 discourse? Honorable members, I now move my focus to public debt and fiscal discipline. The national debt currently is 176 billion Namibian dollars, rising faster than the economy itself. Repayment of debts will consume 60% of total revenue all by itself, which is greater than the development budget. This is a disaster disguised as careful management. Furthermore, all money that we pay in interest is money that we are not putting in classes, hospitals, and water infrastructure. The Minister spoke of fiscal sustainability, but the numbers in this mid-year budget review convey that this budget is not sustainable, but it is just survivable. Honorable members, in conclusion, we acknowledge the balance which has been made in containing the expenditure within the 89.4 billion Namibian dollar envelope. However, we on this side of the House demand real fiscal responsibility, real economic diversification, and real service delivery. I so submit, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you, Honorable. I recognize Honorable Jonas.
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Honorable members. I rise to contribute to the debate on the midterm budget review for the financial year 2025 to 2026. Before I do that, let me congratulate Honorable Erica and her team for their continuous service to the Namibian people. Summarizing SWAPO social contract with the Namibian people, this midterm budget shows the commitment and dedication of the 8th administration to our people. The ultimate goal are to create mass employment, lift citizens out of poverty through economic opportunities and social protection, and deliver higher quality access service in health, education, and infrastructure for all Namibians. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the government response discipline reallocation of 1.2 billion within the fix of 89.4 billion envelope shows a commitment to socio-economic stability. However, this comes with a difficult trade-off, a 9.3% cut from the development budget to fund operational needs. While this addresses immediate social services, it risks delaying long-term infrastructure that fuel inclusive economic growth. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, despite this constraint, the proposed allocations speak direct to the well-being and empowerment of Namibian people. The allocation to the education sector of 814 million, the Ministry of Education includes funding to the initial stage of free tertiary education and the recruitment of 665 teachers. This is a forward-looking investment. Every teaching post filled is not only a job created for individuals, but a benefit to their families and as well as their surrounding communities. But a lifeline extended as well to the learners, their families and communities. Also extended to their uplifting employment to reduce poverty from household and as well as their communities. Also extended to the human capital to reduce the number of unemployed teachers, but importantly, to reduce the overcrowded classroom in the education sector. Coming to the allocation of the health sector of 185 million for the recruitment of 1,537 health personnel will strengthen critical health service delivery and increase employment. Recruiting of these health personnel shows that the Honorable Minister of Health, she is keeping her promise to transform our health sector. Congratulations, Honorable Minister. Which urgently need actionable attention. A health workforce is a productive workforce. Therefore, this massive recruitment will be a relief to our nurses and doctors who are overworked, which causes fatigue, leading to mental health problems. The allocation on social protection, the additional of 50 million to replenish the National Emergency Disaster Fund is a critical measure of compassion. It cautions vulnerable households against climate shocks and aligns with our strategic plans to protect the most at-risk people. The allocation on the National Assembly, Honorable Speaker, honorable members, of 45 million is crucial for its democratic functions. It's important to mention that parliamentary committees are the engine rooms of this August House, designed to scrutinize and hold the executive accountable. Without adequate funding to address issues of lack of human capital with relevant skills, research, legal support, office space, adequate tools and equipment, it undermines the constitutional mandate of the National Assembly. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I positively welcome all the reallocations and tax reliefs in this budget. However, I noted a positive concern on the tangible result of the budget exclusion on employment creation. It's important that the budget progress on the implementation of priorities, projects, and activities indicate quantified figures for jobs created in that period. This will provide strong direct evidence that the budget funded activity that inherently created both direct and indirect employment. It's evident in a mid-depth budget that the health, education, agriculture, housing, water infrastructure, ongoing construction projects have created both direct and indirect jobs across multiple regions and sectors in our economy. It is important, this is highlighted to complement the SWAPO party social contract with the Namibian people. Honorable Speaker, as I commend these allocations, we must also address the economic realities faced by our public servants. The cost of living continues to rise, making food prices to go up, transport and housing increase burdensome. Our civil servants who ensure government services reach every corner of this nation deserve a fair, dignified compensation and equal footing as the public servant employed by the state-owned enterprises, who are paid higher salaries compared to the public servants employed in government itself. I therefore wish to strongly encourage government to consider salary increment for this fiscal period. This will not only reward dedication but also stimulate local economy activities. A well-remunerated workforce is more motivated, productive, committed to service delivery. As I conclude, Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, This mid-year budget review, as one analyst have called it, as a measured balance act, it's a budget of disciplined compassion. It makes difficult choices to protect the most vulnerable and invest in our human capital. From the workers' perspective, it's mundane, vital tax relief, but it's shadowed by the long constraint of higher debts. However, the ultimate success of this budget will not be measured by its allocation alone, but by its timely implementation. The low execution rates on capital projects, which enable these early allocations, point to deeper inefficiency in the implementation system. It's important to note that when the development budget is not spent as planned, this means fewer jobs are created. This is because the development budget is meant to drive long-term economic growth and create more employment through investment in infrastructure. It also risks existing jobs because the development budget acts as an influencer for the entire economy. It is significant that an injection into the economy is made on time, delay reduce overall economic activities, which can lead to lower business revenues and threaten their sustainability, also putting workers' jobs at risk. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, Ndirimani Cultural Troops, one of the well-known artist group in this country, listen to this one. Recently sang a popular song. Listen very carefully, you must go listen to this song. Recently sang a popular song saying, there is no a country with no challenges. The song reminds us that even the most economic countries have challenges. Americans have challenges. Only the other day, their president was shot in the ears. The Indians have their challenges. But mostly, what is important in this song is when he says that even God has challenges. God has challenges. So please, go and listen to this song. But the message of the song, listen to the message of the song, is saying Namibia is not immune to challenges, just like any other country. But what is important is that these challenges have been attended to 24/7 by the Swapored 8th administration. So let us support this budget so that the government can continue to deliver service to our people. I fully support. We can sing.
Thank you. I recognize Honorable Shitana.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I welcome the presentation of the financial year 2025 to 2026 budget review by Honorable Minister. However, we raise with a grave concern that beneath the policy rhetoric of fiscal prudence, this review exposed deep structure weakness that, if left unaddressed, it will plug our economy into stagnation and erode public confidence in government ability to deliver inclusive development. We have an economic slowdown and policy inertia. The mid-year review confirms that our economy is slowing growth, revised down from 4.5% to 3.3%. This is not a temporary fluctuation, it's a symptom of weak productive capacity and over-reliance on a narrow band of extractive sectors. Uranium and gold continue to prop up on our GDP, while manufacturing, construction, value addition, and are declining. This means we are exporting raw material and importing unfinished goods in an unsustainable economy, pattern that deprives our youth of jobs and the national industrial strength.
Exactly.
The so-called diversification strategy promised for February 2026 must not be an academic document as usual. Parliament must demand a concrete time bond plan with initiative for local production, agro-processing, renewable energy, manufacturing, and creative industry. We have a revenue underperformance and a poor fiscal discipline. By September 2025, only 40% of expected revenue had been collected, 10 percentage points below last year's performance. The declines raises a serious concern about efficiency of revenue administration and the health of our domestic economy. How can we talk when tax collection is deteriorating and when the national revenue still depends heavily on SACCO? I call for Parliament to summon the Ministry of Finance and NAMRA to explain the shortfall and the present measurable under the medium-term review strategy to expand taxi base, cross-compliance gap, and the reduce reliance on external inflow. We must strengthen our economy from within, not to continue begging for relief from outsiders. We have rising debt and a shrinking fiscal space. Public debt is now at 176.3 billion, which is 70% of our GDP, with interest payments swallowing over 14 billion annually. We are borrowing, not building factories, infrastructures. We only borrow to pay salaries and service debt.
Exactly.
This is a dangerous trajectory. The so-called diversified financing strategy through a grantee to state-owned enterprises is equal risk if those entities continue to perform dismally. Parliament must not rubber stamp further borrowing without a clear evidence that if fund production investment. I demand transparent on all government grantees and call for the Ministry of Finance to publish quarterly debt utilization report. Our generation should not inherit an economy mortgage to create or to creditors. We have a performance capital project and wasteful expenditures. Development expenditures execution stand at 39%, down from 43% last year. This means that halfway through the financial year, government has spent less than half of what was planned for infrastructure and development.
Exactly.
This failure reflects weak procurement system, poor coordination among OMAs, and a chronic delay in project implementation.
Exactly.
We are told funds are being allocated from low-performing projects. But the question is, who determines low performance? Which ministry are failing to perform? Parliament deserves a clear answer, and I propose all OMAs to be subjected to performance based on budgeting, where future allocation and other tied actual implementation outcome, not political patronage. Yes, we acknowledge the progress in social sectors, green scheme, housing project, hospital renovation, recruitment and education and health. However, those initiatives financed in a shrinking fiscal space. Without productive economic growth, such spending becomes a consumption rather than investment.
Correct.
We have youth unemployment in the private sectors. The review mentioned on the national youth development that were 11,000 and only 42. These are a fun game. Our young people, our youth need jobs, not paperwork. Not paperwork. Therefore, I have this recommendation, honorable members, honorable speakers. I propose the following. One, Parliament must require quarterly report on revenue, performance, debt management, and capital project execution.
Yes.
Number two, fast track and operationalize the economy diversification strategy, focus on value addition, green energy, and digital innovation.
Yes.
Number three, introduce performance-based budgeting and digital monitoring system to cap under expenditures. Number four, impose strict borrowing condition tied to productive investment only.
Yes.
Number five, integrate green schemes with agro-processing industry to achieve food security and job creation. Number six, replace symbolic youth funding schemes with a dedicated youth enterprises bank and the mandatory youth participation in public contract. Number seven, and the last one, Parliament should demand performance contract from SOE, executive, and immediate auditing of grantee to prevent fiscal leakage. I support your bill, but do what I told you.
Thank you. Honorable Mbakera.
You are wasting my time, Honorable. Are you done? Thank you very much. Thank you, Speaker, for allowing me to add my voice to the discussion. I'd like to congratulate Honorable Shafuta on the tabling of the Appropriation Amendment Bill. The bill entails responsiveness to the need of the Namibians and honors the social contract the government has with its citizenry. And to bring my contribution on additional allocation to the Ministry of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sports and Culture, as well as additional allocation to the National Assembly and the Ministry of Health. Honorable Speaker, during recess or weekends, we go back to our areas where different conversations are happening around the fires. Such discussions include free education, overcrowded classrooms, and so many. We are aware of the crisis of unemployed graduates, teachers in particular. Also in this very chamber, discussions about unemployed teachers had come up on so many occasions. The Minister, through tabling of the Appropriation Amendment Bill, is proposing consideration for additional 151 million funding towards the recruitment of 665 teachers. That is really something that we should commend. The Ministry is on a mission to deal with the challenges of overcrowded classrooms and overburdened teachers. While I appreciate the funding for teacher recruitment, I would really like to see that more funding should be availed for teacher accommodation. There is a very high employee turnover at our rural schools, making continuous teaching a challenge. Some teachers are really living in deplorable conditions. Some are sharing small single rooms, while some sleep in classrooms. In order to improve our education sector, we need motivated educators. Honorable Speaker, the 663 million to be allocated for subsidized free tertiary education is something we should also applaud. The President of our Republic meant it when she said that Namibia will be one of the few African countries that will offer free subsidized education. Many did not believe her, and some still don't want to believe. It is here, in black and white. Funding allocation has been done, and it's coming. The parents are relieved. The children are looking forward to 2026. The plan is to increase access to education. No child should remain home because parents cannot afford for their children to go to tertiary. It's a fact that countries that offer subsidized free education boast with lower poverty rates. This journey should bring us hope as Namibians. A Tanzanian proverb says, little by little, a little becomes a lot, and at the end, it will eventually make a big difference. Honorable Speaker, since we came to this House, all of us, including the other side of the aisle, was complaining about lack of office spaces, lack of researchers, lack of support staff, and not so conducive working environment. The National Assembly is also considered for additional funding in order for us to be better functional. We applaud the Minister for that one. In conclusion, I'm equally happy to note the additional funding of 185 million for the Ministry of Health towards the recruitment of health personnel. A country that prioritizes funding towards the healthcare system indeed is a caring government. I've read a quote somewhere that says, the first wealth is health. Significant progress has been made in the health sector, and additional healthcare personnel will only make our healthcare system better. Deputy Speaker, on that note, I'll ask the caring members of this parliament, please do not prolong the discussion on the bill and do the honorable thing as honorable members by passing the bill with urgency it deserves. Thank you.
I call upon Honorable Ngwale. May I protect it? Yes. Thank you. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, I rise to express my unwavering support for the mid-term budget review for the 2025 to 2026 financial year, a budget that speaks to the heart of our government vision, a vision of shared prosperity and empowerment for all Namibians. Honorable Speaker, the allocation of 663 million toward registration fee for tuition for the first quarter of free education in powerful reaffirmation of this government's steadfast commitment to accessible, equitable, and quality education for every Namibian children. Education remains cornerstone of empowerment. It opened the doors of opportunity, uplift families, and raise the foundation in sustainable national development. Equally commendable is the provision of 151 million for the recruitment of 665 teachers and 185 million for the recruitment of health personnel. This allocation are not only figure in a ledger, they represent renewal hope for our communities. They will stress service delivery, is the burden of overworking professionals, and ensure that every child learns in classroom with a teacher and every patient receives care from qualified health worker. Honorable Speaker, as a nation, we must continue to close the gap of inequality, particularly those affecting men, women, child, and vulnerable groups. This budget provides an enabling environment for us to advance gender equality, promote social protection, and save the welfare of our children.
the future custodian of our republic. Allow me, Honorable Speaker, to commend the Swapo Parklands government under the leadership of Her Excellency, the President of the Republic of Namibia, for steering our nation with wisdom, unity, and compassion. This budget is yet another testament to that leadership, one grounded in the principle of social justice, inclusivity, and nation building. I therefore stand proudly in full support of the midterm budget review for 2025 to 2026 financial year. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I recognize Honorable Ashikara.
For the opportunity granted to me. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, let me add my voice to the debate of the national budget. First, I want to start by thanking the Minister and her team for a well-balanced budget aimed at management of our national debt. The budget also ensured economic growth that is critical for the creation and the employment for our youth in our country. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the budget is generally focused on boosting economic growth of very critical sectors such as follows. One is agriculture, which is the greatest employment creator and serve as a salvation of any nation. 2, youth employment. This part of our population need to be developed for employment and to create self-employment, as it is mostly affected by the unemployment conditions. Creative industries is another one that is being boosted. It has the potential to unlock great talents among our youth to create wealth in our country. Honorable Speaker, honorable member, allow me to be specific on a few aspects of our budget. This budget has made available $663 million to ensure that the Namibian students' cry for fees must fall, and the promised subsidized free tertiary education is here at last. This is in addition to the already free universal primary education and the universal secondary education in our country. Further, an amount of $185 million is made available to provide adequate health staffs in the country. This will go a long way in the upliftment of health services and delivering the much needed community-based health services in Namibia. The budget has also set aside some $50 million for drought to make sure that no Namibian goes a day with no food. This also defies the naysayers who misinformed the nation sometimes that the drought has come to an end. This is a clear demonstration that the Swapo Party government is a caring government. The $30 million to Election Commission to cater for the shortfall of cost by by-elections is a clear demonstration of the budget towards sustainable democracy and making sure that the Namibian citizens exercise their democratic rights freely, fairly, and transparently. and to continue electing their leaders. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the previously much debated and National Assembly vote due to underfunding has in total received an additional of 45 million, 15 million for the personnel expenditure and the Parliament Committee's oversights, which is very crucial to budget monitoring, implementation monitoring, and a further 30 million for office accommodation, which will lead to good parliamentarians' work. This is another good and well-purposed budget allocation. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the national budget is truly focusing on addressing Namibian profound economic challenges. It also serves as a developmental tool and offer economic relief to struggling Namibians. Honorable Speaker, having said that, I just want to end by saying that Honorable Finance Minister, during the oversight functions, we were a bit shocked when some region claims that a budget that was passed in March was not yet transferred to the region last month, September. This caused serious concerns, for the budget is the conveying belt of project implementation and service delivery to our people. If the budget is delayed, that is, we are doing a disservice to our people. So that's why I would like to, that's why, Honorable Speaker, I would like to advocate for here, a speedy approval of the budget and a speedy transfer of the budget to the end users. And I so submit.
Thank you. Honorable Lukato.
Honorable Speaker, members of Parliament, and the leaders of all various political parties, thank you for the floor and a good day. The NDP contribution amendment bill 2025-2026 are as follows. On the education system, needs more reforms. Honorable Speaker, members of Parliament, and eventually the Minister of Finance. In support of the years, Namibia's education system went through periods of recession, and after independence came hope of replacing the old order. Bantu education was an inferior education system designed by the blacks of the South Africa and Namibia in the 1950s by the Afrikaners to disable them from competing with the superior education system for whites. Hendrik French, a fervent once Minister of Native Affairs in the 1950s and the later Prime Minister of South Africa in the 1960s, were the mastermind of this education system, and because of its inferior, many young Namibians skipped the country to go and seek a better education system elsewhere. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, this form of education was oppressive and was enforced and imposed upon the black masses in Namibia, in addition to the brutal and the terror campaign against the civilian society. School children were instructed to believe and learn a straight-based and evil Indo-Terrorists that black Namibians were warmongers, while whites were peace lovers. International Conference on Teachers' Education for Namibia, 1989. Honorable Speaker, members of Parliament, in this inception, in reality, Africans, like all races of their face, each enjoy and cherish peace. Africans are not different from other races in terms of capacity and the national thinking. The distortion and the ideology that point of correction, ideology that Africans are slow thinkers, less civilized, unintelligent, dangerous, and irresponsibility were only imposed on them by some Europeans. The fact that many Africans did not exist in many developed issues and the projects had to do with limited. Police, you are very disturbing me, please. Can you silence? Thank you. Facilities at their disposal. Honorable Speaker, members of Parliament, Namibia government after independence come up with education for all as its philosophy of education. This philosophy comprised of 4 major goals of education, which are access, equity, equality, and democracy, values, and language, are also included in major aspects or components of the major goals, Minister of Education and Culture, 1993, I quote, notwithstanding the fact that these goals were not fully entered for in the old apartheid educational dispensation, they remain exclusive. Even today, Honorable Speaker, members of Parliament, after 35 years of independence, it is saddened today to realize that despite all efforts to transform the education system, very little has been achieved. The evidence is there for all to see, notable. Number 1, the higher failure rate, especially at grade 12 level. Number 2, the higher rate of unemployment. Number 3, lack of skills among the learners. Number 4, the education system remains mostly theoretical and not practical and self-led. Number 5, the death of moral values among the learners and teachers. Number 6, hopeless youth because of the unknown future which they are forced to face. Number 7, sanitary issues in many secondary schools. Then let me come to the implementation of Free Education Bill 2025. A permanent system should be implemented, inclusive of learners, teachers, parents, academic lecturers. The implementation should not discriminate any person. The state ought to enact an adequate budget, sharing from the resources which is budgetary, including preschool, primary schools, senior secondary college, and the universities. The free education must entail that every school has a hostel, clinic, mobile clinic, hospital, and these facilities, and I do. Honorable Speaker, members of Parliament, introduction of more staff, medical doctors, medications, water, electricity at all schools, and a proper road infrastructure. Learners and parents must not be obliged to pay for anything. All educational expenses should be under the state's obligation. in order to accommodate both rich and poor. Hence, the reason an adequate budget is necessary. Teachers' houses must be well taken care of. Teachers' welfare, salaries, and their promotions. Honorable Speaker, Member of Parliament, the National Democratic Party, NDP, supports the amendment bill. That's 100%, no zigzag, 100%.
Thank you, Honourable Member. I recognize the Honourable Prime Minister, right, Honourable?
Yes,
no zigzags.
Comrade Speaker and Honourable Members, I think it's a very good note on that, Honourable Speaker, I know you might rule me out of order, but there is also a platform, just as here Prime Minister is being asked questions. Honourable Kandorodu has also posted something on our group, and I think it is equally a voice that we cannot ignore. And the voice said, there must be no zigzag. We must make sure that this appropriation bill is passed and passed swiftly. And I wanted to throw it to the other side because all of us are on that group. Okay, I'm passing it. Yeah. So, but I think, Honourable Speaker, Honourable Members, before I'm ruled out of order, I think if we read that message, it is speaking to a direction that we should, or at least we are requested to consider and to consider favorably and swiftly. And if the affirmation of nodding is saying yes, then I believe that what honourable members that are now currently out of the country, what they are asking us in this August House this afternoon to do is to fully in one voice, what is the word? Pass the appropriation bill so that they can sleep better today as they did, because yesterday sounds like they did not sleep better. Yeah, well, they too, wherever they are part of us. So it's just an appeal, Honourable Speaker, before I'm ruled out, but I think it is a genuine appeal that in as much as we are discussing and adding and subtracting, I think the generality of our discussion is that we are supportive of it, and therefore we want to see it being implemented in the manner that it is beneficial to all Namibians. So I so move, if I'm not out of order, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honourable Honourable Prime Minister. I'm sure that the MPs have heard you, and the discussions would proceed in that spirit. When you are given a time limit for a day, it doesn't mean that your party must speak for that long. So you can speak for 10% of the time, and we can finish budget discussion today and go to the next items. You know, I just wanted to highlight that. Now I continue. The next is Honourable Kumbwa.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker. Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for granting me the time to make a contribution to this very important document. Honourable Speaker, honourable members, fellow Namibians, as the country continues to adapt to ever competitive and non-static geopolitical dynamics, the All People's Party, APP, has noted with concern the current state of finances in our country. The submission of the 2025-2026 mid-year budget review by Honourable Erika Yangalenga Eshafuda, Member of Parliament and Minister of Finance and Social Grants Management of the 8th Administration, shows continued domestic constraints. It is imperative for the administration to adopt an aggressive and responsive framework, working to safeguard the current system in order to support the most vulnerable groups of our society, those who continue to suffer from multi-dimensional poverty across the country. However, let me take this opportunity to congratulate and thank Honorable Erika Tenelenga Yashafuda, Member of Parliament and Minister of Finance and Social Grants Management, for striving to respond to this noble national responsibility through the available policy statement and accountability report for the midterm financial year of 2024-2025. Honorable Speaker, the additional 14 million allocated to Vote 10, Education, Arts and Culture, which includes 663 million for tertiary students, is commendable. However, the recent call by the University of Namibia, UNAM, for an additional 850 million at the border of 2.2 billion estimated to implement free tertiary education should not be seen as a burden, but instead it is a test of the ruling power and authorities' political will to accomplish this mission, an integral part of Vision 2030, which is now only half a decade away. I further support the additional 105 million for Vote 13, Health and Social Services, and I acknowledge the increase in the operational budget under Table 2 from 79.8 billion to 8.6 billion, an increase of 826 million. However, I am disappointed by the decrease in the development budget from 9.6 billion to 8.8 billion, and the decrease in debt service cost from 13.7 billion to 14.3 billion respectively. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the education and health sector are extremely vital to achieving the dream of Vision 2030, particularly in realizing free education at all levels and establishing a world-class health facility. For decades, billions have been lost through looting, inflated contracts, misallocated budgets, and elite capture, all while the majority of Namibians remain denied access to quality education, health services, and potable water, housing, and employment opportunities. Many communities in regions such as Zambezi, Kavango East, Kavango West, Ohangwena, Omaheke, and Kunene still experience challenges with potable drinking water, both in urban areas and in remote rural communities where supply is often inconsistent. The ruling power and present authority, through executive officers, lack accountability. It is unacceptable that a country blessed with rich uranium, diamond, oil, gas, and fish reserves continues to rely on donor support and the massive external loans to fund basic national services. It is high time that political elites are held accountable and understand that national resources belong to the people not to the privileged few who have turned state institutions into private sectors through agencies and commissions. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, the All People's Party, APP, is equally concerned about the ever-growing national debts and debt interest repayment. This practice is not sustainable and poses a serious threat to future generations of this nation. I strongly recommend that the ruling authority, with all political will and executive strength, decisively address the mismanagement of public resources if we are to curb the ever-growing debts. Increasing borrowing is not something to take lightly. To secure the current and future generations, government must exercise strict and aggressive financial control over spending, both on movable and immovable natural resources. It is a fact that Namibia can afford free education. But to achieve this goal, the ruling power and authority of the day must confront corruption decisively, particularly corruption involving officials appointed by the appointing authority itself. Honorable Speaker, honorable member, I want to conclude that Namibia will only become industrialized, innovative, and economically independent when its leaders stop treating power as an entitlement and start treating it as a responsibility. It is rather the system reform itself, or it will be reformed by the will of the electorate, the very people who are tired and unhappy with the current system. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, with all power and muscles, I condone what the Right Honorable Prime Minister just said now in this House, that we have to speed up, and as I support the mid-year budget review statement for the bill to be concluded as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
I have one more member asking for the floor, but the MP's party is not allocated any time to contribute to the budget today, and I would therefore not be able to give the member the floor to speak. That being the case, and being it that no other MP is asking for the floor, we move to the next item on the order paper, and no, then I will ask the secretary. Yes, point of privilege.
Now, Honorable Speaker, point of privilege. I need to be made to understand, because now we are moving on to the next discussion. When we have this current discussion, this current bill that we can easily finalize and pass, looking also at the advice that is coming from everyone member of the House that we need to pass this bill, I really want to understand, why should we go to the next discussion instead of us moving and finalize the bill and pass it, Honorable Speaker?
Yeah, thank you. No, we have to follow the order of business. And that order is given, first and foremost, different political parties are given time to contribute. There are some parties that are not given time today. And we cannot say we don't give them time today, and then we decide we are passing the bill and we deny them the opportunity to speak. You see, that's the first challenge. Unless if we were saying we do not allocate time to political parties and each one can speak, and we can take as long as it takes for all of us to contribute. That's the only way. Number two, there are more than one stages involved in passing the bill. And you cannot do more than one stage of a bill. in one day, it is contrary to the rules. But I know that we are a new member, but I thought the PM also is a new member, but he also was, you know, on a lighter note. That's why he said maybe he will be called out of order. So I decided to leave it there. But no, unfortunately, that flexibility is not there for us to do that in regard to the bill. So we have to allow all the political parties to contribute according to this timetable. So for today, we proceed to the next item, and I will call the Secretary to read the order of the day. The second order of the day, Secretary.
Resumption of debate on second reading, mental health bill.
When this assembly adjourned on Tuesday, 21st of October, 2025, the question before the assembly was a motion by the Honorable Minister of Health and Social Services that the bill be read a second time. Honorable Mbundu adjourned the debate and he now has the floor. Is Honorable Mbundu here? Okay, so Honorable Mbundu is not here. Any further discussions? Oh, there is. Honorable Manoben.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. It is with sense of humility, and I wish to contribute to this important and critical discussion on mental health in Namibia. Honorable members, this bill represents a significant step towards improving mental health services in our country, promoting accessibility, equity, and protecting the rights of people with mental health conditions. I recognize the journey to finalize this bill has not been without challenges. However, the bill is now tabled by the Honorable Minister of Health and Social Services, Dr. Luvindau, marking a significant step towards modernizing mental health care in Namibia. As we move on this piece of legislation, Honorable Speaker, Honorable Members, it is essential that we engage with the stakeholders, including civil society organizations and people with lived experience of mental health conditions. Their input and perspectives will be invaluable in ensuring that the bill is effective and responsive to the needs of those that it seeks to serve. The concern is that the establishment of the Constitution on the Review Board is not specific on this, on the community representative. There is no specific criteria or qualifications related to mental health conditions. Meanwhile, persons who have a lived experience with mental health conditions might be more suitable for the role. This community representative may not accurately represent the community needs and perspectives without specific qualifications or experience. The member may not fully understand the complexities of mental health issues, and the appointment might be seen as tokenistic, where a community member is appointed without meaningful involvement of impact. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, here I would like to invoke the principle of nothing about us without us, ensuring that the voices of those directly impacted by this decision are heard and valued in all discussions. This principle emphasizes the importance of inclusive decision-making, where those affected by policy or decision have a seat at the table and contribute to the discussion. Honorable Speaker, by invoking this principle, I'm highlighting the need for authentic representation and collaboration to create more effective and equitable solutions. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, mental health can affect individuals from all walks of life, regardless of their background, age, or socioeconomic status. Hence, the importance of raising awareness and work towards breaking the stigma surrounding mental health issues is very essential, and to encourage open conversation. Here I quote Sigmund Freud, an Austrian neurologist and founder of psychoanalysis, Honorable Speaker, and I quote here, unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. He basically highlights the importance of acknowledging and expressing emotions in a healthy manner to maintain mental well-being. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, psychologists play a vital role in our communities by providing essential mental health services. They help individuals cope with stress, anxiety, and trauma, and help those struggling with mental health concerns on an early basis. They can prevent more severe problems from developing. Their work promotes overall well-being, resilience, and quality of life. In Namibia, most of the psychologists are in private practices, which make their services less accessible to those without medical aid or with limited financial resources. Based on the information available in the government, specifically at the mental health care, and this is under correction also, has 2 clinical psychologists, and in Oshakati, there is no one except for a social worker. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, to address these challenges, we could explore increasing funding by allocating more resources to mental health services, enabling the recruitment of more psychologists. Streamlining the registration to simplify the registration process with Health Professional Council to facilitate more efficient onboarding of psychology graduates. Training capacity building by offering training programs that focus on building capacity and in mental health services, potentially increasing the number of psychologists in the public sector. The need for psychologists in public health is really significant. By integrating these professionals in public health setting, Namibia can improve mental health outcome and to promote well-being. Perhaps psychologists could be opted in from their private practices to work on part-time basis at state facilities. This could be a great way to supplement existing mental health services. I believe this approach can also help foster collaboration between public and private sectors, ultimately improving mental health care for the community. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, mental health is a critical aspect of overall well-being in Namibia, requiring a comprehensive approach to address the country's unique challenges with a growing awareness of mental health issues. There is an opportunity to strengthen mental health services. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, as we navigate the complexity of mental health, let us remember that healing is a journey, not a destination. May we prioritize compassion, empathy, and understanding and support, and may our collective efforts ripple effects of hope and resilience. I thank you, and I support the bill.
Yes, thank you. I recognize Honorable Jonas.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, honorable members. Let me begin by congratulating Honorable Dr. Lubindao, Minister of Health and Social Welfare, for tabling this critical mental health bill. This landmark legislation aims to promote and protect the rights of individuals, regulate equitable care, establish clear procedures, create oversight bodies, define roles and rights, and manage patient properties as outlined in the bill. This bill comes at a very crucial time, and once again fulfilling the promise we made by our SWAPO party through fulfilling, I'll repeat it so that you listen to it very carefully. This bill comes at the crucial time, and once again fulfilling the promise made by our SWAPO party through its manifesto. Through its manifesto to prioritize mental health, expand access to mental health facilities, and establish nationwide rehabilitation centers. Well done, Honorable Minister, to you and to your team for hard working and finalizing this bill and tabling it before this August House. Amen. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, mental health is a silent disease that is slowly devastating our people, particularly Namibian workers across all sectors. Many of our workers, especially in a certain industry, face daily challenges to their emotional, psychological, and socio-economic well-being, which is in turn affect productivity both at home and in the workplace. It is estimated that 70% of Namibian workforce experience significant stress and chronic health conditions, with 35% of work-related stress occurring in the mining sector and the construction sector. Within the public sector, there is also significant concern due to high rates of work-related stress and burnout among public servants across all three branches of the state. In other sectors such as agriculture, domestic work, security, finance, and logistics, workers are significantly impacted by socio-economic factors like stagnation wages, poor working conditions. Furthermore, many Namibian workers face unspoken mental health challenges, including daily verbal and physical abuse from their employers. These include untold stress, depression, often endure in silence because speaking up carry a high risk of victimization, discrimination, and dismissal. Honorable Speaker, honorable members, let me acknowledge the Ministry of Justice and Labor Relations for championing Namibia ratification of ILO Convention 190, making us the first country in Africa to do so. This convention deals directly with violence and harassment in the world of work. This move was necessitated by the alarming rates of violence and harassment in Namibian workplaces. This policy is crucial for mental health because it helps mitigate the severe psychological consequences of workplace violence and harassment, such as increasing anxiety and depression. Therefore, I propose that the National Violence and Harassment be formally aligned with this mental health bill at the earliest opportunity when this bill is passed by this August House. Highlighting the above, let me now analyze the mental health bill from the workers' perspective, focusing on protection, obligation, and areas for potential strengthening. The bill established a modern rights-based framework for mental health. While its primary focus is on patients, its implicity and explicitly creates a new landscape of rights, responsibilities, and protection for the workforce. Key areas positively impacting workers include robust anti-discrimination clauses, protection against exploitation, detailed procedures for managing workplace incidents, mandatory training, and significant new report obligation. Honorable Speaker and honorable members, there is a critical gap in the bill on unclear application to the private sector. Inclusion is essential for the comprehensive and equitable mental health system. Without it, patients in the private facility and private care lack legal recourse for rights violence. Creating a two-tier system, this must be addressed to ensure uniform patient protections. I took note of the definition on the health facility as well as mental facility, but I'm still not convinced by one of that section 3, subsection 1, the way it is because it's subjected to misinterpretation or legal challenge during the implementation. The bill is explicitly limited to the state, with no mention of the private sector. The bill is completely silent on the responsibility of private hospitals or clinics. It does not instruct them to create similar policies or measures. Therefore, a private facility is not directly bound by the requirement of the bill. The law creates a higher, clear standard for public facility, but leaves a vacuum for private ones. There is no direct legal text here telling a private hospital what it is internal policies must achieve. Honorable Speaker, there is a need for the bill to address the private sector. I welcome the bill as it requires all health facilities to adopt policies, utilize public health and education to promote mental health in all areas of public life. This will benefit the labor and the employment sector. This bill empowers the Ministry of Health to enter into agreement which must, among others, promote cooperation between the training of staff of the ministries and staff of other ministries. To mental health to enable them to engage or interact with the patient in an appropriate manner. In line of Section 23 of the Labor Act, employers can utilize this bill to promote and facilitate for training on mental health for their workers. The agreement, I have 15 minutes. The agreement which the minister might conclude must regulate the promotion of mental health in various public sectors, but not open to the private sector, specifically in the employment sector. The prohibition of on discrimination and abuse are commendable, but may lack enforceability without a clear framework applying to the private employers and facilities. Including the private sector in the application of the Act is therefore fundamental to the successful implementation of this crucial bill in the private sector space. While the bill is a national instrument, it is important. 15 minutes, Honorable Speaker.
So I need to know how much more of your contribution still remains.
Only one page.
Postpone to tomorrow.
2 minutes.
Yeah. So
can I postpone for?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, you don't postpone. We rise on automatic adjournment, and you continue from where you ended today.
No, they will stop here.
Honorable members, can I be heard, please? I'm not done. Alternatively, the member can conclude her statement in 2 minutes. So which one do you choose? Do you continue tomorrow or you summarize in 2 minutes?
Then we have our time. Yeah.
Okay. Honorable Speaker, if I have to continue tomorrow, how many minutes do I have?
No, they will check what time you have used.
She will start from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yes.
But it will be automatic adjournment. You will be the first to speak on that item, and you only start from where you ended today. Do not repeat the whole statement. Okay. So now we rise on automatic adjournment until tomorrow at 14 hours.